Rings of Elysium is a new take on the Battle Royale genre. Basically, the way the game works is that while it does have a variation of cars and snowmobiles and stuff like that, as well as boats, the entire game is kind of based in a snowy world where instead of like a shrinking gas circle, it's pretty much like it gets colder and colder, forcing you to kind of go into a specific area and fight with other players. Now, the game has three modes of transportation, that being snowboards, hang gliders, and climbing. Now, snowboards are my favorite, and at first you might think that they're pretty clunky because when you're on the flat ground, as you can see here, they're a little bit wonky and a little bit slow. But snowboards really actually get pretty fun when you're going downhill because you get a lot of speed and a lot of momentum. You can hold down space, of course, to kind of crouch, let go of space to kind of pop up. Now, if you do it right, as you see here, you can actually get a pretty good amount of pop. You can do some cool tricks. The tricks work automatically, depending on how fast you're going and how well you pop. But it's pretty cool. As you can see here, there are some cool vehicles, and overall, the game actually doesn't look that bad. The lighting effects can be pretty nice. The locations are pretty nice. Now the houses are pretty standard. They're just kind of like lodges and feel pretty copy pasty. But overall, I don't really have too many complaints with how the game looks. And I really think that overall, it actually feels pretty good too. Now PUBG made a big, kind of announcement that we're adding the ability to kind of hop over objects and jump over things. Now this game already has that, and it works pretty well. In a lot of ways, this kind of feels like a pub clone directly in how the gameplay feels, but I would argue that it's pretty similar in how polished and how good it feels. I think that looting actually is much better than in PUBG because you automatically kind of equip sights and things like that, similar to how the COD Blackout beta works. But so as for example, you could have all these sights and stuff and pick up a gun, and it's automatically going to put all those sights and stuff on that gun that match with it. So this game is noob friendly in that sense. But I think overall my favorite thing about this game is those kind of differentiating factors. That being the kind of movement and a variation in how you can travel. A lot of ways this game feels like it's kind of more playful and more casual, and it doesn't take itself as seriously, which is something I like. In this instance of the footage, we all drove up as high as we could up to this mountain. And you could see right here when I zoom in, the game actually wants you to do stuff like this. It puts a ramp right there up that landing kind of ramp zone. And you can have some really good times with buddies, just kind of snowboarding around, getting some ridiculous jumps. Not only that, but it makes kind of staying within the circle a little bit easier because you can kind of use your snowboard, get around on those tight moments, and it just provides for some good fun. You really do pick up speed, and like I said before, the momentum feels pretty good, and snowboarding feels pretty good when you're getting that speed. As you can see here, we're going to get a really, really fat rip, and it just feels really good to do this with your buddies. Look at that. We cleared pretty much tons of stuff. And one of my buddies did go down, so he had to go pick him up. But another thing about the game that's interesting is the covering system. It's pretty automatic. So you go up to a tree and you crouch. It's going to hide behind. And you aim down your sights, and it's going to kind of poke out. It's kind of like a sticky base cover system. Kind of interesting. A little different than PUBG, which requires you to kind of do it manually. I thought this game's way of doing it was pretty cool. A lot of ways, this kind of feels like a more casual version of PUBG. Like I said, it doesn't take itself too seriously. But the shooting and stuff like that does feel pretty good to me. It's a bit arcadey in that there's not too much bullet drop, and you can kill people pretty quickly. You see someone's head poking out, you have that Mosin Nagant sniper rifle. You're going to be able to pop them off really good. But you do have helmets and body armor and some of those things, so it doesn't feel too frustrating. But perhaps my favorite element about this game is actually the end point. In order to win, you climb with a helicopter, and you can actually shoot people off as they climb up into the helicopter. So 4 people can make it out instead of like one like traditional battle royale. So there's this really interesting dynamic of trying to get onto the helicopter but also preventing other people from doing so. It's really, really fun to balance that risk reward. As you can see here, I'm trying to shoot people, and the cold's actually killing everyone. People are so greedy that they'd rather kill other people than go up and save themselves. They don't want to risk it. And now here, there's really only 2 or 3 people left here, and I'm trying to make sure that I'm going to be able to make it up. But as you can see here, I'm trying to go for it, and then I actually see a guy. I take him out, but someone actually takes me out. And now what happens is it got so cold that pretty much everyone actually died, and no one actually got to be able to, get out. And that's really interesting. I've never ever played a battle royale like this where no one actually wins. For some reason, that's really satisfying element. just to be able to know you kind of stuck it to the other guys and no one wins. A lot of times the battle royale feels so frustrating at the end that you're kind of so close, so you feel cheaped out for not winning. But I think that's kind of an interesting way to do it with the helicopter kind of extraction mechanic. Now the map is pretty cool. As you can see here, there's some racetracks and things like that around to kind of play around with, to kind of keep yourself busy. And I think that's one reason I also like this game is that it kind of takes me out of the battle royale element in a lot of ways. You can kind of explore the map, do these kind of tracks with your friends, and try to get jumps and stuff like that. As far as climbing, I'm not sure really quite how useful it is. You can kind of zip line around the map, which is kind of interesting, and take kind of lifts and stuff like that. And hang gliding, you can kind of just jump off buildings or jump off kind of steep ravines and kind of get away quickly. Now, as far as my complaints about the game, I say the vehicles do definitely need some work. They feel a little bit sticky and clunky, kind of like you're driving just like a box with wheels on it. Additionally, when you're getting shot at in a vehicle, it can feel pretty bad in that you're pretty squishy for some reason. But besides that, I don't have too many complaints about the game besides the vehicles. Shooting feels good enough. Graphics look fine. Overall movement and looting feels really good. There's enough loot to go around, so it doesn't feel like you're just looting the entire game. Overall, I definitely think this is a free-to-play. It's a good free-to-play game in the battle royale genre. And I don't think it's going to compete with Fortnite maybe, but it's definitely going to siphon off some PUBG players, and I think it's more fun for me right now as of PUBG. Maybe it's not as competitive, but it's definitely more fun for me to play. Anyways, guys, thanks for checking out this video, and I'll see you again on the next video.